Hi everyone, my name is Zoe and welcome to our video tutorial today on owner payments. For those of you who may manage individual properties on behalf of their actual owners and therefore take management fees or booking fees in order for you to do so, the owner payment feature may be a great option for you. It allows us to set up all owners and contracts within the NewBook system. We can then automatically calculate the fees that are owed to you as a business at the end of each month, and all that's left to do is allocate the money to the owner and then pay out from your NewBook system. Once your NewBook system has been licensed for the owner payment feature, there are a couple of items that you must set up in order to be able to pay your owners out at the end of the week, month or year, depending on what your actual payment schedule is. The first area we need to have is our bank account set up. This ideally will be the account that you receive all of your money into for your booking revenue, and is also where you're going to pay the owners out of at the end of the month. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and open our bank account area. Once we've clicked into here and the page has loaded, if you do happen to see an existing bank account already listed and it is the correct account that you'd like to pay your owners out from, you will not need to create a new one. However, if this happens to be a different account that's created and you need to add that particular one in, simply click the Add Bank Account option in the top so you can enter those details. You must ensure you enter the account description, as an example, business account. On the right, you also need to ensure you select the correct bank file format that you want NewBook to generate the payment file within. This way, when you go to pay out your owner from the system, NewBook is going to generate the correct file for your bank to read when you upload it to pay them out. Lastly, clicking in the Add Direct Debit Auth section to enter the account name, bank name, BSB and account number. Once those areas are added in, you can then select Save. It is important to mention that once you've added this bank account in, for those of you who may also want to add in a separate account or a personal account to actually pay your fees into when we go to pay out the owners, you can also add that in from here as well. All you need to do is follow the same steps. However, ensure that the account description is set as something such as personal account. That way it's clear and concise and you can see exactly which account you need to select when you're on your owner payout, which is the final step for today's video tutorial. As we've now set up our bank account correctly, the second area we need to go into is our payment types. When we pay out our owners from the NewBook system, we provide you with two options. Either bank transfer or funds transfer, or check. Depending on which one you'll need to use will depend on which one you need to activate. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and open our payment types. Once this page has loaded, any payment types that appear in the grey or white colour are indicating that they are activated already to be used throughout the system. These payment types are most likely the options you provide guests so that they can pay for their stays. However, in terms of paying an owner, we need to either activate check or funds transfer. We can activate both if you'd like to pay some via check and some via funds transfer. All you need to do is click on the correct one and make the available for staff use set to yes, and then save. Now that that payment type is activated, we can head into our next area. It's now time for us to enter each of our owners into NewBook that we currently manage a property for. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our owners page. Once we've clicked into here and it's loaded, it's going to display a list of existing owners that you may have already set up in the system. If you do not have any here, all you need to do is select the Add Owner button in the top bar to start adding them in. Once we click this button, we then need to start entering all specific owner details. With this owner setup today, I'm simply going to point out the key areas that you need to ensure are set up correctly in order for the owner payout feature to work successfully. We'll need our first name here for Michelle and our last name being Jones. We can enter the owner's actual residential address within here if we needed to. Then below we have our direct debit authorization, which is an extremely important part of setting up an owner. If there is no direct debit information or bank account details here, and you want to pay them out via funds transfer or bank deposit, you will not be able to do so. Therefore, you must select the Add Direct Debit Authorization button on the right and enter the following details. First is going to be their account name, which we'll put as M. Jones, their bank branch, which is ANZ, their BSB number, and their account number. Once those details are entered, you can then head down into their contact details, where we highly recommend adding an email and mobile phone number. This way we're able to send emails from the NewBook system directly to the owner. This could be anything from their actual payout statement once you pay them, or just general contact between yourself and the owner. We'll place an email in here for this example, and then with the mobile number, I'm simply going to remove on the right hand side. As we've now added our contact details, all we need to do is select Save. It will take us to a view of that owner with a success message where we can now complete our fourth step, which is creating an owner contract. An owner contract is where we set the default fees that we may charge each owner per booking in order to manage their properties. Once these have been set, NewBook will know to calculate these fees for each booking that we receive within each property, and at the end of the month when you go to pay out your owners, we will ensure that those fees are retained for yourselves to keep, and then the rest of that balance can get paid out to each owner. There are a few ways in which we can add a new contract into NewBook. However, as we've just created a new owner in the system, we're able to add a contract to this particular person by clicking the Add Contract button in the top bar. Once we click into here, we then need to enter their contract details. You'll notice it automatically selects the owner correctly, and we can then set the date of their contract and on the right, what actual property or site it is that they own. When it comes to the start date of a contract, ideally this is going to be the day in which you start managing the property for that owner. And therefore, it's the day in which we're going to be calculating fees on all of those bookings moving forward. As an example, I could say that this contract actually started on the 1st of April 2020. Therefore, NewBook will know to calculate fees on any bookings from April 1st onwards. The end date you can push out as far as you like into the future, especially if you know that they're going to be owning this property for a very long time. On the right, we then select the site or the room or the property, depending on what you call it, that they actually own. So clicking into the drop-down option, I can then select that Michelle owns cabin 185. She owns the entire cabin. However, for those of you who may have owners with 50-50 ownership, you are able to create 2 owners in NewBook and 2 contracts, each calculating 50% to ensure NewBook calculates the correct fees. The payout sub-client account is simply indicating that once we pay the owner from NewBook, where would you like the payout amount to display within their owner client account? Underneath, we then have our NewBook Online booking placed action. This setting is only valid for those of you who have NewBook Online. And what will happen is when a guest makes a booking for this particular property, we can set whether we want to notify the owner by email just to let them know that they've received a booking, or we can actually require the owner to approve the booking. Therefore, they have to check every booking that drops in and click a link in order to approve or decline the booking. If neither of these options are necessary, then you can select the do nothing and all bookings will drop in as normal. Below, we then have our NewBook Online bookings from the owner are free of charge setting. If this is on yes, and an owner is given owner login access, when they make a booking, they will not be charged at all. It will be a free of charge booking. If we put this on no, it means that the owner is going to be charged the standard rate or tariff that you have available for the general public. In this particular example, we are going to keep this on yes, and moving below is where we're able to set our contract fees. On the right, we're going to select our Add Fee button. Once our owner contract fee pop-up box appears, we're able to use inventory items to display the particular fees that we may charge for this owner. As an example, if I click into this inventory item option here, I'm able to search and select an existing one I already have set up called management fee. Once I select this, On the right, it defaults all the details correctly for my accounting purposes, and underneath here, I'm able to select what the actual fee amount is and how it's calculated. With this particular one, I'd like to say that we take 10% of the total booking, therefore entering 10 in this box, and in the fee type drop-down, I'm going to change this to percentage of booking. To keep this very simple, all I now need to do is select save, as there's no other requirements I need to add for that specific fee. If you do have other contract fees that you charge per booking, you can then add additional fees in on the right and search for your next item. Next, we'll be using a booking fee, which I've already got set up. Once I select this, I'm then going to use a fee amount that actually charge $50 per booking. Therefore, I can keep the fee type on the fixed amount per booking option here. Moving below, there is an additional section here called restrictions. These are certain configuration options that we can set, and what they will do is restrict when a booking fee is created or when a management fee is created. As an example, I could say that I only want to take a booking fee of $50 if the booking happens to stay 7 nights. Therefore, any booking that stays less will not incur that $50 booking fee. However, for training purposes today, we want these fees to calculate on every booking. Selecting save, I've now got my 2 contract fees that I charge for this particular owner for Michelle Jones. Therefore, I'm happy to go ahead and now save the contract. Once that's saved, it takes us to the view of the contract with a success message underneath. I would like to reiterate that when we create a contract, the fees that we set within here are what we get to keep out of each booking we receive for that particular owner's property. Then, any revenue that's left over is what we owe to the owner. In order for us to prepare to pay our owners what we owe them, we need to allocate the money we've received for all fully paid and departed bookings. This is the main step that needs to be completed in order for our owner payout to reflect the correct amount of money that we owe each owner. When it comes to paying our owners at the end of each month, we need to ensure that we go through all departed bookings for that particular period and allocate the money that's been paid from the guest to the owner. This will only work on bookings that have departed and are also fully paid. As we now have our owner contract here for Michelle Jones, and she owns the Tropical Family Cabin number 185, I'd like to use our global search in the top left to locate a booking we have for Tom Ferguson, who stayed in early April. Once I select enter and we locate the booking, we're going to click straight into it and cross-check all booking details. I can see clearly that the booking is not in red text at the top, indicating there's no money outstanding. The booking status is also departed, and we can see there's a $0 balance owing on his account, indicating he is fully paid. The last area I'd like to cross-check is within Tom's booking client account here, because we want to ensure that the payment that's been received is appearing in this green line, indicating that it's fully reconciled and is paying off all charges within the client account in full. As Tom's booking now meets all relative requirements, we're able to head back to view the booking and click into our update button in the top bar. As Tom's booking is departed, it's fully paid, and his booking client account is fully reconciled, I can now click into our owner payment data. This is the area of every booking that we'll need to go into after a guest has stayed with us to allocate the money that was paid from the guest to the owner. Once we click into this button and the page loads here, it's then going to give us an overview of the booking details for Tom, his stay dates, what property he stayed on, and his status. You'll see this first section advises that this booking meets all requirements for owner payment allocations. Moving underneath, we then see our applicable owner contracts. This is where it pulls through Michelle Jones' owner contract and the start and end date here, and we can see exactly how much of this property she owns. Below, we then have the revenue summary for Tom's stay. You'll see it shows the quoted tariffs or the quoted rates for our standard price, which is $525. Directly underneath, we can see that a balance payment has been made for $525 also, and then directly underneath we have our green tick indicating the booking is balanced and you can now complete your owner payment allocation. As these two sections now meet all requirements, it brings us down to the bottom section here called Allocated Booking Revenue. You'll notice that within this section, it stands out in yellow and it's indicating that there is still $525 eligible to be allocated for this booking. If we click onto the right hand side, all we need to do is select the Allocate Revenue button. Once selected, a pop-up box is going to appear. Below, it's then giving us a preview of exactly what Michelle Jones is going to end up with after our fees from the contract have been deducted. You'll see at the top here we have the revenue for the total booking, which is $525. We then have our management fee that we've calculated against this, which is $52.50, and also a booking fee for $50. Underneath, we can then see exactly what revenue the owner is going to get as soon as we've allocated this money, which is $422.50. In addition to that, we also get a summary, which outlines the owner fund allocation and also what revenue we keep for those contract fees. If for any particular reason you did not want to charge one of these contract fees to the owner, you can head over to the right-hand side and click the Remove button. Once you do that, it will reload the page and it refreshes to show that that is now in red because it is no longer active. It then recalculates the owner revenue and it also recalculates what we will receive. Alternatively, leave those unticked and all you need to do to allocate the money for the owner is select Save. You'll notice that this area has now refreshed and it appears in green, advising the owner payment allocation is now complete and the revenue for this booking is fully allocated. It is extremely important that once a booking departs, that a staff member goes through and correctly allocates the owner payments. Therefore, when it comes to actually paying out to the owner at the end of the month or week, depending on when you do so, all money should be allocated and ready to pay out straight away. As we've now gone through and created our owner, a contract, and we've just shown you how to allocate the owner payment, we're now ready to pay out our owners. The owner payout page is the final step we need to complete in order to pay our owners. We need to ensure that all booking revenue we've received for any departed and fully paid booking has been allocated to each owner. Once this has been checked and we can 100% confirm that we're good to go, we'll then be able to select which owners we'd like to pay out. But before we do so, I would like to go through some of the settings on this page which will assist you in completing this process. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our owner payout page. Once we've clicked into here and the screen has loaded, you'll notice our payout settings below. The first section here in yellow is indicating that the page is currently in preview only mode. This is to ensure you don't accidentally pay out an owner before you've completed all cross-checking. This is to only be changed to no once you are ready to complete your actual payout. Moving underneath, we then have the methods in which we're able to pay out from the system, which we can see we have our funds transfer option. For those of you who activated check as well, you'll have another box here saying check. You'll need to ensure you select the correct one to complete the payout. Underneath here, we then have a payout description, which will appear within the client account of the owner so that they can see exactly what money was paid to them on a particular date. If you would like to adjust this, simply click into the box and start typing or delete the text to override. Underneath in our payout funds from option is where we select the bank account that we want to pay the owners from. If you have multiple bank accounts set up, you'll need to ensure you click into this drop down and select the appropriate one. In this instance, I only have one bank account created, therefore I'm keeping it on this option. Moving below, we can then select a separate bank account that we may want to pay our fees into. If you don't want to transfer the money into a different account, simply leave it on Do Not Pay Fee Revenue. Otherwise, click into the drop down and this is where you'd need to select a separate account such as your personal account that those fees can be paid into. If you leave it on the Do Not Pay Fee Revenue, all it means is that the money that we've already received for the bookings is going to remain in the account that we've receipted it into. Therefore, when we go to pay out our owners, all we're taking out of the account is what we owe the owners, and our fees will remain in there for us to keep. Over on the right, we then have our preview of the owner payout page, which is currently viewing on screen. However, if we did want to print, we can change to PDF or we can export to CSV or Excel. However, for this scenario, we do not need to select any of these. We're going to keep it on screen. Our two main areas below allow us to auto print the payout statements once we complete the payout. Directly underneath, you're then able to select whether or not you'd actually like to automatically email those off to each owner as well. As we've now cross-checked all of our settings on the payout page, I'd like to select the preview button, and once we click this, it's going to load all of our owners that are eligible to be paid. And on the right, we do have another tab called Bookings Not Allocated, which will list out any bookings that may still require a staff member to allocate the payment to the owner. We recommend that you go through the list of bookings here to ensure that you allocate the payment to the owner. This can be done by clicking on the booking, which will open in another tab. It's then going to show the owner payment data. If the top section appears in green and the below is also appearing in green, all that's left to do is allocate the money to the owner by clicking the Allocate Revenue button on the right, which we've done earlier, and then cross-checking the details and then saving. Once that's done, if we head back to our owner payout page and select Preview, we're now going to have more revenue eligible to be paid out to that owner. To ensure our owner payout process is efficient as possible, we do recommend that a staff member does actually allocate the payment to the owner upon departure or maybe a couple of days after. That way, you're not going to have a giant list of bookings that you need to go through and allocate before you pay the owner out on this screen. When you allocate a payment to an owner, when you're on your owner payout screen, the owner then appears in this list. And on the far right hand side, it shows you exactly how much money they're eligible to have paid out. And again, this only appears once you allocate that payment on a booking to an owner. Therefore, it is imperative that you cross-check this tab to ensure that all money has been allocated that possibly can. Once you're 100% certain that it's good to go, you can then click over to our owner payable column and tick the owners that you wish to pay out. Once you do this, you'll notice that the three options below will preview with their own values. It shows you the total of bookings payable today. Underneath it then also shows out of that what we'll be receiving. Before we complete this payout, I would like to mention the expand button on the top right here. Once you click this, it's going to give us a detailed list of these totals below. You'll see it shows the owner, their contract and property. It then shows the total revenue received for each of the bookings and any management fees or booking fees within their contract that are being deducted from those totals, and it gives you their grand total that they'll be receiving for this particular owner payout. As I've now cross-checked all areas and I'm 100% sure that everything is correct, I'm now ready to complete my payout. What we need to do is change the preview only button to no. Once we do this, you'll notice that the button at the top and bottom changes from preview to payout. I would like to emphasize that as soon as you press that payout button, it's going to create a bank file which needs to be uploaded into your bank to actually pay your owners out. What it will also do is settle the owner client accounts within the NewBook system, and therefore we always have a record of every payout that they've ever received. This is why it's so important to ensure that before you click that payout button, that you've allocated all owner payments successfully and that you've also cross-checked the bookings for each owner and the fees that have generated to ensure they're reflecting correctly. And once that's 100% correct, you then select the payout option. All that's left to do now is select the payout button, and once we click this, you're going to see that it creates a direct debit file for us to download. This is the file that we upload to our bank account in order to actually pay out our owners. Once you've clicked that owner payout option, it's imperative that you download that link and upload it to your bank account. Without doing so, you're not actually paying your owners. All you're doing is settling the NewBook system. If you forgot to click the link to download and you're no longer on that page, you can use your menu search in the top left to locate our direct debit files. Once we click into here, you'll see the owner payout listed right at the top, and on the right it's also advising what date it was processed on. All you need to do is click into the file number, and within the direct debit file area, click the download button. Once selected, you'll see it downloading in the bottom of your page for you to then upload to your bank account. To finish off today, we're going to have a look at our owner client accounts and also where we're able to locate our payout statements that have been generated for each of our owners. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and open our owners. Once we click into here, we'll be able to see a list of existing owners that have been set up. On the right, we can see how many contracts they have with us, and we also have a column displaying their owner client account balance. Each time we complete an owner payout, it will display that information within these owner client accounts. As an example, if I click into Rebecca King's owner account, we'll then be able to see a detailed list of everything that's occurred within the client account ledger. You'll note that we have a list of charges, payments, and also a refund. The first area I'd like to note down is the refund, which is listed as a funds transfer, and the description here is advising money paid on the 1st of May. We reflect this as a refund because we are paying that out to our owners, therefore it's been taken out of our bank account to pay them. The way in which we reflect that is by a refund. Above that, we then have the 2 payments, which reflect the revenue received for each of the bookings that we paid them out for, and to reflect the fees that we took from the revenue out of those bookings, we can see the 3 charges listed here for each booking and management fee. If the owner would like to receive a detailed list of these items, you are able to use the account options button in the top bar to print the statement, which will put it in a PDF output for you to select print, or we can use the account options to email the statement off to them directly. It will pull through their owner email address. Below, we can then select what template we would like to attach along with it, and what date range within the owner client account are we wanting to send to them. Please note, this is not their payout statement. This is just displaying everything that's occurred within their owner client account. Therefore, if we have the date range on all and they'd been with us for a few years and we've done multiple payouts, it's going to show a full client account with all payouts that have occurred over those dates. If we select send, it will take us back to the view of the client account advising that was sent successfully. When we completed our owner payout earlier, we had an option to automatically email our payout statements to each owner. What I'd like to show you now is how we're able to locate those owner payout statements and also how we can bulk send them if we need to after our payout. Using our menu search in the top left, we're going to search and locate our payout statement option. Once we click into here, it allows us to run a report where we can print in bulk all of our payout statements if we wanted to keep them on file or if we wanted to possibly send them by mail to our owners. Within our payout statement settings, we can then select the date range we'd like to view the statements for. I'd like to run this for the month of April and select Run Report. You'll notice it loads our payout statements in a PDF output. The first one here is for Daniel Cullen. It lists his payout statement. It outlines the month that we're looking at, and within here it shows all revenue for bookings and all fees from the contract that were deducted, and at the bottom, the overall amount that was paid out to him. If we scroll on to the next one, we'll be able to see Michelle Jones' payout statement showing her revenue for her booking and the fees incurred and what she was paid out. If we'd now like to print those out, we can then select the print button in the top bar. Before we head into the next area, I would like to point out the display booking details option. Currently, these statements just display the revenue for a booking and the ID. It doesn't give us any information about those bookings. If we click in the drop down, we can display ID and the full name of the guest or the first name and last name. Once I click onto here, we then need to rerun the report, and you'll notice it then displays the booking ID and the name for each of those particular bookings. If our owners have requested that we send these through to them, we can actually use our menu search in the top left and go onto our owners page. Once it's loaded, we can then use the tick boxes on the left of each owner and then select the email statement option on the right. It will pull through their owner details. We can select a template we'd like to send along with this, and you'll notice the attachment is sitting in here for their payout statement. All that's now left to do is select the date range that you'd like to send it for, such as our previous payout from the 1st of May, and then send the email. It will take us back to our owner page with the success message indicating it was emailed off to those 2 owners. That does bring us to the end of our video tutorial today on the owner payment feature. If you've got any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact our support team. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in our next video tutorial.